Alright, we're here today and we're talking LS left-hand starter conversions. We've got all the transmissions and kits available by us, and I'll show you step by step why we do it and how we do it. Okay, so I've got a setup table here with a heap of different gearboxes at the back. LS manual, we've got a turbo 350, a power glide, 4L60 and a 6L80. We've got the three kits that we can supply. First one here is LS manual. The second kit we have here is the turbo and power glide transmission. And then we have standard LS autos. Alright, I'm going to show you now why we do this left-hand starter conversion. It's sitting at the moment on an early Commodore front end with a manual steering rack, and you can't even get the front end to sit in the correct position without the steering shaft hitting in the middle of the starter motor. So these kits can work if you want to run a big turbo dump pipe out there, if you've got steering shaft clearance issues being right-hand drive, or room factor for pipes. Okay, we're just going to have a quick run through on the gearboxes and sizing issues if you haven't yet selected a gearbox for your project. Just show you tunnel clearance size-wise and all that. Cut this piece of tin out just to replicate some sort of trans tunnel, just to give you a bit of an idea. So over here we've got a TR6060 factory Commodore gearbox on an LS engine. We've got a turbo 350 to a power glide, 4L60, and then to the big berth of the 6L80, which will require tunnel mods on just about every car. Alright, we're down to the nitty gritty part now. So we've got to fit our left-hand starter kit, so we've got to strip the engine down to suit our starter kits. So in all these kits, the ring, the starter motor and the dowels are all the same, so it doesn't matter which one we pick. We're just going to go ahead and do that, get everything ready, and then we'll pick a kit from there. Now we're going to remove the starter motor, the dowels to locate the gearbox. This engine's conveniently missing one, so that saves me doing that. And we're going to remove the spigot bearing. And in LS engines, you have to use a tool for it, because you cannot hydraulic it, as there's a Welsh plug in the end of the crank and you'll develop an oil leak. Alright, just to keep in mind, these spigot bearings can be an absolute pain in the bum. They can be really tight, so if it's taken a while, just persevere, you'll get there eventually. Okay, now we've got the spigot bearing out. It's time to start installing our kit. So I'll start with the dowels and tap them in, then we should be right to put the plate on. We're fitting the 4L60 or T56 version, so an LS based gearbox. So in that we've got to cut out a starter relief for where the left-hand starter will actually sit. So if you got your left-hand starter plate, put it on there. You got your old dowel, use that as a locator. Just mark where your ring has got the provision for the starter motor. Okay, so we've got our marks where the starter relief will be. So you measure from your points, which we've got 50mm. So halve that and put a line in the middle, and then you want to make 35mm cut in the inside, 30mm deep. I've marked out where we want to cut, but it doesn't have to be spot on. So you can cut it all the way out as much as you want, as long as it's not too small, so your pinion doesn't drag on it when it engages. So if you want to cut it out to the 50mm that the actual starter ring is, it won't matter, because it'll locate on your left-hand starter plate anyway. Okay, so we want to mark 30mm down for pinion throw out, and then we've got our existing marks that we had before, so we come down 30mm from them, just draw a box on them. Okay, so I'm going to try and do it with a hole saw. I've never done it with a hole saw before, but we'll see if it makes it neater. So I've got round edges, obviously, because we use a hole saw, so I just use a grinder to square the edges up because it needs all the room it can get at the start. So get that done. Just going to use a flat disc just to clean it up a bit, and we should be ready to rock and roll, I reckon. So as you can see, that's with the pinion engaged, so where it'll be in cranking position, so you've got plenty of room around it, and that's what we're after. Now we fit our left-hand starter plate to the back of the engine, so we can loosely fit the starter motor and check for any clearance issues that you may have against the block, because if the starter's not sitting square to the starter plate, you'll have issues with the starter motor. So on this one, the starter motor's just fouling the backside of the block, I'd say, so the starter's not sitting quite square on the adapter plate there, so we're going to have to mark the engine itself and then put the starter back to find out exactly where it's hitting. So I'm just colouring in where I believe the problem is. So once I bolt the starter up, it'll leave a mark on the starter motor, so I'm able to see if that is the spot. Tiny. So I'll give that bit of buff off, just enough to take the colour off the top, and then we'll try again. Okay, so I put just a piece of old instructions in here to make sure it's clear, and it's clearing on that corner of the sump now, so that's all good. But with the light, I've looked around and it's touching on the back on a block here, which I'll have to buff a little bit off that, so I'll mark that while the starter motor's all bolted up. And it's a bit close up the front here, you might be able to see where it joins to the corner of the sump. So I'm going to have to remove the left-hand starter ring again and just give it a little sand in there, and then I think we should be pretty right to go. So I've pretty much just cleaned up all the rough casting edges along here just to give us a bit more hope. So if I do it all, just clean the rough bit off, not go too deep on it all. I think we'll be pretty safe with that. Don't want to go too far because you don't want to damage your block. Okay, so we've just fitted it all up again. Everywhere's pretty good after we've just buffed that casting off. There's plenty of room around it, except for one spot where these wires go into the starter motor. We're fouling on this back casting on the block, so we're going to have to pretty much take that back flush with the bottom of the sump there, I reckon. So that's probably a good 5 mil, but it's only a casting nub, so it shouldn't really matter. We'll just buzz that back down and give us plenty of clearance, so we're safe. Okay, we've got the starter motor on. She's all fitted up perfect now. It's got good clearance everywhere. After taking that back casting nub off, we're all good. So now it's time to start fitting up the flex plate for this conversion. So we've got a standard flex plate, got our torque converter locator, we've got new flex plate bolts here. We've got a torque converter thrust pad which goes in the end of your crank here, just like that. Then we put our flex plate on, standard flex plate, all good. Our torque converter locator and our bolts. Now we just torque these up to standard GM specs as per book. If you haven't got them, look them up on the internet if you've lost your instructions for them, or okay, so we're just bolting the torque converter on. Obviously this is not the way you go about doing it, but I've got to show you guys where the spaces and everything go, so this is the easiest way for that purpose. So we've got our torque converter spacer that goes in between your torque converter lug and your flex plate, if you can get it in there, and that just allows for the left hand starter ring. Now the only reason I'll put this on now is to show you guys at home where our torque converter spaces are actually located, because once the gearbox is on we can't get a camera in there to show you. So obviously do not put it on this way. This has to be part of the gearbox when it's put on, and then put the spaces in once it's in situ. So this is only to show you guys at home. Okay, so we've stripped the converter off, so now we're ready to fit a 4L60. So let's fit a 4L60. Well, that's one 4L60 fitted. So I've stripped down the remainder of this kit, so I've taken the flex plate, torque converter spacer and all that sort of stuff back on. I've left the adapter plate, the dowels and the starter motor in place, because we're going to go and do the T56 TR6060 kit. The previous kit that we've fitted will work for all LS automatics, so your 4L80s, 6L80s, 4L60s, the whole lot. So here we've got the TR6060 and our kit that you get from us. So you get your concentric slave spacer and bolts to hold it, a new spigot bush, your starter motor, bell housing bolts, new flywheel bolts and your instructions. So first and foremost, we'll unbolt the concentric slave cylinder, put this ring in behind the concentric slave, and then with the bolts provided, do that back up. That'll be our first step. So that'll space everything forward to allow for the use of that left-hand starter kit. And the bell housing that we did before, when I showed you how to cut out for the starter motor, was a T56 bell housing. So I'm not going to fit this gearbox because I don't really want to cut up another gearbox for no reason. So we're going to fit that one. I've got a flywheel over there, we'll put that on. Same deal as before, torque them up to GM specs. Always use new bolts. I'm not using new ones now because it's just a waste of money. That's our full kit installed here. So we've got our spigot in the motor, flywheel on other than the clutch, concentric slaves spaced out ready to go. You saw us notch the bell housing before, which is T56. So that notch out's for all LS series gearboxes on the LS with our left-hand starter. Thanks for watching.